Here we are, back in Tamriel with my Talons Tank, Deltia. So I'm going to show you the T3 build. I want to kind of give you a sample of what it's capable of. So let's just go here and fight something and show you. And everything's dead, and I'm at basically full health. So, how did I do that? Let me go back here and run away from this NPC who keeps hounding me. Okay, the Talons Tank is basically centered on using Talons in Standard to basically kill everyone. I got my gear set up here, which I have changed recently for the patch 1.3, but I'm going to talk about that later. But really I want to talk about stats and skills and how I'm effective. If you look at my skills by default, I'm overcharged armor, and with spiked armor, I'm at the hard cap, 2600. I'm also overcharged on health, and I almost have 2k stamina and magicka, so that's a lot. I did go vampire because it's just the advantages are too much, so my health recovery is low, but I can counter that with Dragon's Blood. And also I can do that huge massive self-heal, so I don't need a whole lot of health recovery. My stamina recovery is overcharged, Dragon's Blood up, magic is pretty fast. I do actually have a decent amount of crit because I'm using the Thief Stone right now. But realistically, with food and everything, I have tons and tons and tons of stats. So, with the abilities, what I'm using as far as a loadout, I use Volatile Armor. Now why do I use this? It puts me at the hard cap on armor, it does damage return, and it does AoE damage on activation. So I run in there, use that, and it lasts for 20 seconds, so it's not something you have to cast over and over. But it is kind of a high magic cost, so you're going to have to watch your magicka. That's why I usually have a magic pot handy. As you can see here, that's my Q, is always a magic pot usually, because my stamina keeps up pretty well. So I got that. That's the first ability. It's huge. Try to keep that buff up. Pierce Armor, I did switch because it's a good debuff on the target, so it reduces their armor and spell resist. With Talons, I don't need any more armor. Or excuse me, Volatile Armor, I don't need any more, so that's why I chose the Pierce Armor morph. Because it's a huge debuff. It's the taunt, you get to pick one or the other, and this really works if you already have max armor. You don't need any more. The whole build is centered around Talons. Now, it's a 400 magic cost with my setup, so it's a huge magic cost. But really, this is the key to the build, and controlling enemies. Also, it does a lot of damage over time. So if you pop this and block, you can just sit there for a while and everything dies pretty much. By the time you get 400 magicka back, you can cast it again. But really, this build is designed for dungeon runs where you have a pocket healer, and you need to control the battlefield, control them, not moving to the healer or your DPS, and just basically letting the DPS do what they do. Let's kill stuff. Letting the healer heal. Your job is just to maintain focus and just control the battlefield. And Talons really lets you do this. Now you notice that my health wasn't moving, and I kept casting this over and over. It's absorb magic. So I take this morph because I basically absorb health 115%. So I love casters, because if you cast stuff, I have tons of stamina, I basically can't die. So I just kept letting him cast over and over. It's only 217 stamina, so it's a pretty cheap cast for someone who has 1800 stamina roughly. Also, it really helps my block mitigation and reduces my block cost. So it's just something you gotta have on your bar, in my opinion. And you gotta have Green Dragon's Blood. It's the mega self-heal, it has stamina, health recovery, it's God mode, to be honest with you. But it does have a high magic cost, so you're going to have to watch your magic between Dragon's Blood, Talons, and Armor. Then I have Magma Shell. I don't use it a whole lot, but in emergency situations I can. I like the Magma Shell morph because it does have a synergy, so my teammates can use theirs if they're really low health. But I really don't use it much because Dragonknights have the standard of might. Yeah, God mode. It's huge damage. They take less healing. I mean, you do less. Everyone benefits from this. So as you see at the end, I'm just waiting around till this gets charged. 200 ultimate, so it's a decent amount. But really, if you're using your Talons a lot, keeping that up, and maybe using Pierce Armor here and there, this thing will generate pretty fast. And then that allows you just, standard and kill everything. So if you're out soloing, this is the way to go. But really this class and this build is designed for a team. And standard will help you nuke tons of stuff. Now, first bar, sword and shield. Second bar, resto staff. Why? Resto staff's great because I can get magicka back off of a heavy cast. Also, I got healing springs, and it's always good to have a backup healer. All you really need to do is just plop this on the ground a million times if you're in a party like this. And you can literally keep people up because it stacks. So, and if you need more magicka, you just do a heavy attack, boom, you get magicka back, swap back to your sword and shield, Talons, life's good. So that's why I use that setup. Also on the bar, I have absorb harness magicka. The reason I do is there's a lot of casters, and let's say I can't get absorb magicka up, I'll use this instead, and that allows me to basically absorb magic and not get one-shotted in various situations. This can probably be swapped out for something better, and it could be a lot of different things. I also use retreating maneuvers a lot, just for speed. And it also removes snares and immobilizes. So if I can't get to a target per se, my healer needs a peel, I'll pop this, and then the healer can get away from whatever target, I can get back and pull it. So that's why I use retreating maneuvers. So really the fourth button here is kind of like an alternate thing you can use. Cinderstorm, huge. Snares, it has a miss chance, and they take damage. So if you saw what I was doing, I Talons them, then I dropped the Cinderstorm right on there. Now, another thing about Cinderstorm, look at my ultimate, it's building out of combat. So if someone needs to go use the restroom or we're going in between fights, use this. Get your magicka back, because you can build ultimate in and out of combat. And that allows you to drop standard more often. More standards, the better. Now you'll notice Inner Beast. This is the range taunt. It's not the best taunt, but, if you can't use your magic, or let's say the red circle of death's up, you just swap to your resto bar, boom, drop it on the boss or whatever you need to do, and let it go back to tanking. I think extended change is almost mandatory for this build, because sometimes there's a healer in the back or an ad that the DPS can't get to. I always preach time on target to DPS. Time on target means if you're walking to something, not hitting something, you're not doing DPS effectively. You need to be hitting something. I don't care if it's an ad, a boss, whatever, all the time. So this lets me kind of do that for the help the DPS, and that's pull them in, or peel away. So if the healer's running away and needs a pull, bang, I'll use this on them. So that's kind of the ability layout with the Talons T3. Now as far as gear goes, so let's look at the stats again. So how did I get all these stats and recovery and whatnot? I really think 49 health is the only way to go. You get 15 points, comparatively you get 10 and 10. So why not? I do have this Ritual Stone or the Munda Stone on the Thief just because I'm playing DPS at the moment, but you want to swap this out for more health, maybe even healing effectiveness. I mean, tons of different stuff, but don't probably have this. And then also I picked an alliance that had my faction dominated, because look at all these benefits. So I would recommend doing the same thing. Also, always eat food. The food that I selected was this fortified sweet roll, because it gives me 300 max. Oh, excuse me, I'm picking the wrong one. Invigorated honey pudding, max magicka and stamina, because I don't need more health, and this really gives me those huge stats that I need on magicka and stamina, giving me to nearly the soft cap. Also, you're going to want some potions of health. that have health, magicka, and stamina. They can sell pretty good, so just load up on them. I don't even use these normal pots, and then a lot of magic pots I use just from farming mobs. I get a bunch of them, and then maybe some pots if you need to do DPS real quick. The weapon power one if you're trying to burn a boss down. Okay, so for the set bonuses, now the main set bonus here is Hissbark. The game's changing here in a couple weeks, so I changed up a bunch of stuff to kind of get the new set bonuses and the new soft caps. But essentially the main part of this is Hissbark, because you get a 20% dodge rating, 200 points because 20%, and 1.3 coming up you're going to get 18%. But really that could save you from dying, literally. If a boss swings and misses, or you combine it with Cinderstorm for another miss chance, it's going to save you stamina. So as long as you're blocking all the time, you're blocking as a tank, so why not make it have a huge miss chance? Some of the other things that I took for 1.3 is like White Strake's Retribution, and then also, if I can find it, Ashen Grip, and I took two different 2-packs, 2-piece set bonuses for max health. So I should have around the hard cap for max health once 1.3 launches. Also, as far as glyphs go, I like to use infused and then reinforce on everything. So infuse on the heavy pieces like the chest, the legs, and the helm. That's where you get the most stats from. So I like the 17%. Now I recrafted, so this isn't all gold yet, but I'm working on it. And then the little pieces I do reinforced, because you don't get an improvement on large versus heavy sets. So why not use reinforced to get that hard cap? So I do reinforce the traits here, 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 and here. And then the enchants that I use are just dependent on how much stats I want. I like to keep basically the health maxed, magicka and stamina nearly close, because I'm going to use tons of stamina for blocking and some absorb and taunting. I'm going to use tons of magic for standard, self heals, talons. So you're going to need basically a good combination of the two. So I just kind of basically what I do is I buy whites and I just put them in and see what my stat line is. Then I go back and buy golds like with Kuda and redo it. So I haven't redone it yet, but I can even get more stats pushing this gear to the next level. So once 1.3 drops, I'll go farm some Kuda and do that. As far as jewelry goes, I haven't upgraded my jewelry to purple yet, but really I like the enchant for reduced cost of block. It really saves you in the long run blocking. And so I got that on one. I did go vampire, so I have to have some flame resist, but you could change this out for another reduced cost of block or reduced cost of magicka, because we do use a lot, and talons is 400 or something, so this is a good choice too. On the weapons, shield, I basically do max health just to you get tons and tons of max health on your shield. It's considered a large trait, so I go infused on that, and that gets me to the soft cap level for health. The weapon I've been experimenting with, I like defending for more armor and spell resistance, and plus the hardening enchant is pretty good. It grants a damage shield. You could go a lot of different ways with this. Magic steel, I don't know. This kind of just seems to work for me. I can always use a magic pot, but just swinging here and there really can add up to a lot of health over time. That's why I go with that. Now I do a magic steel on my resto staff, and the reason why is that I do a heavy charge and I have magic steel, I'm getting a lot back, and so that allows me to use talons more if I'm low on magic and I'm in a safe area. That kind of goes hand in hand with the weighted trait. Increases weapon attack speed, so that way I'm getting magicka back more, and then I can go back to blocking and doing my job. And so that's kind of the gear setup. Talked about gear, talked about abilities, kind of show you how this works again, and that's the Talons 3, the T3, the Terminator, or whatever you want to call it. It's just awesome, and when you go into these dungeons, you are going to be rocking. So absorb up, boom, taunt, I'm blocking, I wait till they all get on me, I absorb down again, pop it again. Absorbs down, they just casted a spell, another Talons. I'm gonna pot right now. Absorb again. They got me, boom. Now guess what, standard's up. Standard, everything's gonna die. So, that's it. I'm going to show over time more basically dungeons, PvP, and everything, but really this build is designed for PvE content. I wouldn't run it too much in PvP because it doesn't have the impenetrable traits on the armor, but this is a standard awesome build for Dragon Knights. If you want to be a tank, I think they're the best tank class in the game, whether you're a vampire or not. So stick with it and try it. Feel free to email me. My character name is @Deltia. So if you're in game and want to chat, just give me a holler and we'll go out and kick some butt. So cool. Well, thanks for watching, and yeah, I'm going to be having some more builds on my Dragon Knight, a medium armor, heavy cleave build. So stay tuned.